Once there was a land called Eldoria, ruled by a king named Theron. He was known not for his kindness, but for his cruelty. His face was often a scowl, and his voice, when raised, sent shivers down spines. King Theron loved power more than anything. He taxed his people heavily, taking their crops and their coins, leaving them with very little. If someone couldn't pay, he would send his soldiers to take their land or even throw them into the dark, cold dungeons beneath his castle. The farmers worked from dawn till dusk, their backs aching, knowing most of their harvest would go to the king. The merchants struggled to sell their goods, as people had no money left to spend. His castle, a towering structure of grey stone, was a place of fear. Laughter was rarely heard within its walls, replaced by the clanging of armor and the king's harsh commands. He had a grand feast almost every night, while his people outside starved. He wore the finest silks and jewels, while many in Eldoria wore rags. One day, a terrible drought hit Eldoria. The rivers dried up, and the crops withered in the fields. The people had nothing. They went to the king, begging for help. They pleaded for him to lower the taxes, to share some of his vast wealth. But King Theron just laughed. "You are lazy," he boomed. "Work harder. My treasury will not be emptied for your weaknesses." He even increased the taxes, demanding more from a people who had nothing left. Many fell ill, and some even died of hunger. The whispers of discontent grew louder, turning into murmurs of anger. Among the people was a young woman named Alara. She had lost her family to the drought and the king's greed. Her heart was filled with sadness, but also with a growing fire of determination. She saw the suffering of her people and knew something had to change. Alara began to speak to others, quietly at first, then more openly. She reminded them of their shared hardship, of the king's cold heart. Slowly, a plan began to form. The people, tired of their suffering, started to listen. They decided they could not live under such a cruel ruler any longer. One night, the people, led by Alara, gathered outside the castle gates. They were not armed with swords, but with their courage and their numbers. They chanted for the king to step down, for justice to be served. King Theron, startled by the noise, looked out from his window. He saw the angry faces, not just a few, but hundreds, thousands. For the first time, he felt a flicker of fear. His soldiers, seeing the vast crowd and feeling the weight of the people's despair, hesitated. Many of them had families among the suffering. They did not want to fight their own people. King Theron, isolated and alone in his cruelty, realized his power was slipping away. The people of Eldoria, united by their shared pain and their desire for a better life, had finally found their voice. The cruel king's reign was coming to an end, not by a single act of bravery, but by the collective will of a people pushed too far.